back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing a review on the Estee Lauder Double Wear Stay in Place makeup. I mentioned in my last haul that I want to do a review on this foundation when I picked it up. So if you guys would like to see my views and thoughts on this foundation here, then be sure to stay tuned. So let's talk about where can you get this foundation. You can get this foundation from Sephora. Sephora does sell this foundation. You can get it from an Estee Lauder counter, or you can go to a cosmetic company outlet and get yours. I got mine from the cosmetic company outlet. I'm not sure if all cosmetic companies outlets sells this foundation. I know most of them sell the Estee Lauder brand, but I'm not sure if they actually sell the foundation. If you live in like this area, you can go to the new outlets in Charlotte and get it from the CCO. They don't have every shade at the CCO. That's the only problem. They do have basically the shades that's sent to them. They had extras of or overstocks in. So a lot of times that's what the CCO have. They have limited edition stuff and overstock stuff. So they don't sell all the brands. So not all CCOs will have this foundation, but I mean it wouldn't hurt to go check it. So yeah, you can get it from there. You can also get it from Estee Lauder's website or Sephora's website. If you pick it up from the actual counter, or if you pick it up from the Sephora store or their websites or whatever, you're gonna pay about $37 for it. But I got mine from the CCO, like I mentioned before, and I paid $26 for mine. If you go to the CCO, you will get a discount on the foundation, so you're gonna pay about $26 for it. At least that's how much I paid for mine at the one that I went to. I'm not sure if the prices are different at different CCOs, so it could be different at different ones if the prices are different. This is the packaging of the actual foundation. It is kind of like one of those glass type of foundations, but it has kind of the foggy, it's not clear, it's kind of foggy, so you can't necessarily see the actual color of the product. So it's looking a little bit lighter in the actual product than it is when it applied to your face. It does have a top on it. You just twist the top off, and it does not come with that pump. It's one of those foundations where you just move it around. You shake it on your hand like so, or you pour it out, or however you want to get it out, but you don't have a pump that comes with this, which I think is a con with this foundation. This foundation does have a wide range of color selections, so if you are a woman of color and you have trouble finding darker shades foundations, this will be a good brand to look. Speaking of color, I picked mine up in the color 4C3 Soft Tan, because they do have like cool, neutral, and warm. So they are like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 like that, and then they have like a C, N, or W, and then they have 1, 2, or 3. And yeah, that's how the color range is selected. So I got mine in 4C3 Soft Tan, and now I am NC45 in MAC, sometimes NC43 depending on the day. If you are like my shade, I do recommend going to the 5 section, probably about 5C1 or 5 something like that. This actual particular one didn't have a sample, and I just looked it up on the internet and I saw that they recommended that I got this shade for my skin tone, because you know those websites, I think it's called Foundation Finder, but whatever the name of the website, I'll have a link below just in case you guys are interested in it. But it's just a website where you go and you put in your actual foundation shades in different brands, and then they recommend the foundation that you're looking for, the shade that you're looking for. So I did kind of blend it in and made it work. So I applied this foundation with two things, a brush and a sponge, like I always do in my reviews. This time I used a sponge. This is just a blending sponge, and this is the brush that I used this time is the Expert Face Brush from Real Techniques. And honestly, I didn't really see that much of a difference. The only thing is that this one I felt gave me more of a natural finish with the beauty blender than the brush did. The brush side, you can actually see the foundation it applied so smoothly, and such a full coverage more so on this side with the brush, but this side it gave me more of an airbrush look, and it gives me more of a natural look on this side. As you probably can see, it gives me more of a full coverage on this side and more of a natural coverage on this side. So with this foundation, using a brush and a sponge, you really can tell the difference in between the two, but it's not that big of a difference to where you would have to use the brush, or you would have to, depending on the type of coverage you want. If you want a full coverage, then I recommend using the brush, but if you want to go for more of a natural coverage, then I recommend using the sponge. This is a buildable foundation, so you can go in, like once you put on one layer, you can go in and put on another layer, or just cover up certain areas that you want to cover up. And that's exactly what I did on this side of my face and a little bit on my chin area where my dark spots are. I went ahead and I applied another layer just to kind of cover them up, because I wanted those areas to be a little bit more full coverage. And on this side I blended it out with the sponge, and this side I blended it out with the brush again, and it also gave me a more full coverage on this side than it did on this side with the sponge where I blended it out. So what does this foundation claim to do? This foundation is a 15-hour wear foundation. At least that's what it says. For me, I do think that this is like a probably 8 to 10 hour wear foundation. I wouldn't necessarily say 15 hours. I started to see my dark spots peeking through, and my blush and bronzer and all of that was starting to fade. So you know, once it reached this 10 hour, say we're no more than 10 hours, but it does say it's a 15 hours. I think that it is a good foundation for, like, if you're gonna just wear your makeup to school or to work or somewhere and then come home and wash your face afterwards. This will be a good foundation for that. But I would say if you're going to work and you're gonna go out and or somewhere else afterwards, and you're not gonna be home until probably like 12-13 hours later, then I don't think this would be one, unless you want to carry it with you and touch up throughout the day. But I don't necessarily think this will be one that I would carry to wear all day long. Now if I'm, like I said, if I'm going to school, going to class and coming back and washing my face, then that would definitely be one that I would recommend. So it also says that it is a natural looking carefree foundation, and it is a natural looking foundation. I will say that it does look like my actual skin. Being that it is a buildable foundation, sometimes it can tend to not look like my skin a little bit. Like on this side here where it has more of a full coverage, you can kind of tell like this side here looks more natural, you know. Like if you put on probably one layer, it does look natural, but once you start to build it up, it starts to look unnatural. So but it is a natural light foundation. It says it's a lightweight or free buildable coverage foundation. Like I said, it is buildable. You can build it up. If you need it to be full coverage, you can do it. And basically that means that you can just build it up and apply more than one layer without it looking cakey and overdone on your face, and it leaves your makeup looking as fresh as when you applied it. Now I will say that throughout the day, your foundation, it actually feels like your face, so it is very, very light. It doesn't feel like you have anything on your face. A lot of times I forget I have makeup on sometimes when I have on like lightweight foundations and I touch my face, and this was not one that will come off and get all over your paper and things like that if you are like someone that touch your face and stuff like that. And it does look fresh, like it says, as when you applied it, because throughout the day it will look fresh, but once it starts to reach in that 8 and 10 hour range, it doesn't necessarily look as fresh anymore. I mean, it still looks good. It's not horrible. And once it reaches that range, it starts to look like you had foundation on nowadays, which is kind of normal with foundations. You're not necessarily going to look perfect like your makeup is not necessarily going to look perfect all day long. And basically that's all that it claims to do. So my final thoughts on this foundation: I do love this foundation. I think it is an amazing foundation. Again, this is one, I don't think this is necessarily one that you should break the bank for, but it is a nice one to have in your collection. If you are looking to start out with a good foundation, I would recommend this one to start out with. If you're looking for like higher end foundations and you want to splurge a little bit, this would definitely be one that I would recommend you going, because of the buildable coverage with it, and because does last like 8 to 10 hours, which is good. And for me, it hasn't breaking me out. Where I tend to get really oily at, it kind of did leave in my chin, but as far as like up here, because I get really oily here, it didn't necessarily leave like around my nose and areas like that. So it did stand up for my like oil part. I don't like the fact that it doesn't have a pump. It is one that you probably would want to try out or, you know, invest in. If you do go to Sephora, you can get a sample of this if you don't necessarily want to purchase it. You can get a sample and try it out and then go back and purchase it if you know, see this review and you don't know necessarily if you really want to get it. But I hope this review helps you guys. For those of you that are interested in purchasing this foundation. Yeah, so those are all of my thoughts on this foundation. I hope you guys find it helpful. Have you guys tried this foundation? Let me know in the comment below your thoughts on it. And if not, are you interested in trying this foundation? Let me know if you will purchase it. I hope you guys are having an amazing day. And thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you're new here. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.